This podcast is brought to you by Fanbase, the ultimate platform for sports teams looking to enhance fan engagement and streamline operations. With Fanbase, you can effortlessly manage memberships, sell tickets, and run your own team store, all while building a vibrant community around your club. Whether you're minor league, major league, or just a local club, Fanbase helps you connect with your fans like never before. Visit fanbaseclub.com today to learn how you can take your fan experience to the next level.
John, you good?
I'm good. Let's roll, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream, the best is yet to come.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone back to Build It. This is John, not Nick. You might be able to tell from my American proper accent. Have a really cool guest today. Shannon from Orthodontic Experts is with us. They are a partner of DeKalb County United, so we have an existing relationship, and I wanted to bring Shannon in to chat about all things from her side of it. And so welcome, Shannon. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. How about you, John?
Wonderful. Everything's wonderful and never been better. And I appreciate you taking some time to chat and share sort of your perspective on all kinds of things, outreach and partnerships and the things that you guys look for. So you want to give us a little overview about the company, the organization, and your role?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Orthodontic Experts, we are a multi-location orthodontic clinic. We operate in 3 different states: Illinois, Wisconsin, and Indiana, with our headquarters in Des Plaines. And as our overall mission, we try to make it our goal to overall give back to our patients, make that difference, while simultaneously educating them on their overall treatment, their oral hygiene, stuff like that. So we started about 12 years ago in Arlington Heights with our founder and president, Dr. Y. And so in that 12-year span, we were able to grow from that one clinic to 26 clinics. And so we're completely aware that we would not exist without our communities, without our community members, welcoming us with open arms. So where I come into this, I have kind of been able to expand that overall mission to our communities as well. So we really strive to make that difference and give back to our communities, our community members, as well as educating them on their proper oral hygiene and the necessity that is orthodontia. John, I think you're muted.
There's no way that happened. You are media and community relations coordinator, right? So that is an expansive title that allows you probably to dabble in a bunch of things. Have you found in your time that growth, what did you say, 12 to 26 clinics, or 1 to 26 clinics over 12 years, right? So like, how much do you think outreach and what you do, not you specifically, but your mission to give back, what do you think that has done to drive the growth of the organization as a whole?
Yeah, I think that our overall mission of giving back, making that difference, helping educate has really helped differentiate us from many other orthodontists within the field. Specifically with our educational program, not many orthodontists or even dentists have these fun and engaging educational programs that they have geared toward all ages to kind of help, bridge that gap between those misconceptions. And so I really think that our just being, willing and wanting truly to give back and make that difference is just really allowed us to stand out amongst every other orthodontist in the area.
So when you're looking, you you're probably taking calls and opportunities, like people like us that might reach out. I think you guys actually reached out to us, which was great. Like, what are you looking for? I always joke, like, farmers markets. I see like big companies sponsor farmers markets and community theater things, and I guess what's your kind of approach to when things either come across that you see that you think I want to get involved with that, or this isn't really a good fit, or what's your kind of approach to all of that?
Yeah, we really look for things that is overall fun and engaging for those communities, whether that is youth programs, amateur athletic sports teams, schools, youth programs, after school programs, things like that. Really anything where there is overall already making a difference in the area, we try to hop in there and just kind of help out with that as well.
So highlighting already impactful things works, because if it's impacting, then probably it already has a following and it already has sort of believers behind it too. That makes a lot of sense. Uh, yeah. What is like the most, like maybe the oddest thing that you've partnered with or sponsored or whatever, like and obviously working multiple states and locations, I'm sure you've seen some pretty different odd things. Is there anything that's really stood out as like, this is the thing we got involved with or supported and I didn't really know and it turned out awesome? Is there anything like that?
So I wouldn't say necessarily odd, but I think something that's really cool that we got involved with this past year, we started up a relationship with the Pads of Elgin Homeless Center, or homeless shelter, excuse me. And they had been in need of different, or I guess, health necessities. And so we donated to them a whole bunch of toothpaste along with these little toothpaste tubes. And so basically, the little tube you put around your toothpaste and you just push it up, and it helps easily, push that toothpaste out. And I honestly think that that was one of the most uh, pretty interesting things that we've been able to get involved with.
Yeah, it is fun. It's sort of like following uh, a mission based organization, and you touched on that earlier with the way you guys have grown. Um, is your mission something that comes up often in meetings, or is like discussed or reflected on when you make decisions, or how relevant is that in like the day to day culture of all the staff in the company?
Yeah, I would say that our community involvement is pretty important to the existence of orthodontic experts. It really helps us just, get our name out there. And so, because of that, it does happen to come up quite often, how we can, truly differentiate ourselves in that field, and overall just, give back.
Yeah. I think I've said this repeatedly, but the sometimes having that clear mission in a group um, makes decisions for you when presented with options like, in hey, should we do this thing? Should we support this? Should we organize this type of an event? And usually for us, if we can say, does it unite people through soccer? It's pretty clear that yes, we should, or yes, we could, and then we evaluate for the X's and O's of it. Um, to make sure that we have the resources to pull off whatever it may be, or whatever. But um, I think uh, it's pretty important to any company or organization, whether it's nonprofit, for profit, whatever, to have a clear goal beyond just existing, sort of. Um,
Lee?
Talk to me about this educational outreach, and forgive my ignorance. Um, like, I think one of the things in our world of um, minor league soccer is education of our fans and um, the people that don't follow us meticulously every day, every tweet, every Facebook post, the casual fans or the casual community members that have never heard of us, it's attending for the first time, don't know anything about the league we play in, our opponents, our rosters, because it's minor league. They can tend to vary very high degree of turnover from May when we start to the end of July could be a completely different group. Um,
Mhm.
so as you are putting together educational materials and resources and stuff like that and gearing it towards, I'd assume, some not necessarily for kids, but younger and some for older people and all points in between, like what goes into some of the educational aspect of what you guys put together?
Yeah, so for me, I actually have a background in education. And so I was kind of able to pull from that knowledge and just overall experience to kind of help form a educational program that we like to call the trivia game show. And so that is kind of geared to, as you were saying, all ages. We have a preschool program, we have an elementary, middle school, and high school program. We have what we call our condensed program, which is used with a lot of our events, like at tables with college students, parents of high schoolers. And so, really, when I went about creating that program, I really thought about and looked into, what are these overall misconceptions about our oral hygiene and about orthodontics in general. And so I kind of, researched into all of this and I pulled all of that knowledge and created this trivia game show basically where most of the elementary, middle school, and high school program is, pretty similar. We basically break those kids into teams. Each team has a buzzer. And then based on their ages, the questions are either geared towards oral hygiene with a brief introduction to orthodontics, a nice mixture of orthodontics and oral hygiene, or a overall history and importance of orthodontics and oral hygiene. With our preschool program, it's a little bit different. We do, instead of breaking them up into teams, we actually do an overall educational engaging discussion with them with some picture aids. We bring out our friend Mr. Dino with his real set of braces. They get acquainted, not only with brushing teeth, but also getting to see what real braces are, what they look like, what they feel like. Um, and so then we also recently created this wonderful program geared towards parents. One of our preschool partners had actually reached out to me maybe about a month or so ago, expressing her concerns that her parents were having with their children's teeth and their oral hygiene. And so I basically, listened to exactly what she was experiencing at her facility. And I put together a nice little presentation for parents all about how to keep up with their kids' oral hygiene because it is really important. A lot of people don't understand that your baby teeth are there for a reason. And if they do get cavities, that is going to be an issue. Because those baby teeth are overall saving space for our grown-up teeth. So it's very important that we really, nurture our teeth. And I think that kind of is where the overall program stems from is that we need to truly prioritize our teeth and our oral health.
So as you're doing this outreach work regionally, right across the state, multiple states, how do you what's your balance like of sort of developing resources and videos and games and things like pictures and all the stuff versus how much time do you spend like out in the field speaking to classrooms or all the different things? Like how do you percentage wise split up your time?
Yeah, so that's a good question actually. We've kind of transitioned more towards the educational program being a high priority. Back when I started a little under 3 years ago, we were really trying to just overall get our name out there, and so there was a lot of what we called community visits, stopping into the communities and the surrounding areas of where our locations are situated, and trying to partner up with different programs, schools, organizations, getting out there, giving some discounts in the areas, that sort of thing. And so that used to be probably about 75% of my day was, or excuse me, of my week was those community visits. And as we started to, see the overall impact that, um, improper oral hygiene was having on, the community and stuff, we started to place a higher priority on creating a program. And so this past summer, actually, that program, it's or actually, I should say this past year in general, that program really took off. It was gaining a lot of traction. And from there, it was clear that there was more of a need for that educational program over the need of, getting out into the community and overall, trying to make partnerships in that sense. And so now what we do is we try and make partnerships mostly, um, you know, from behind the computer, I guess I should say, or over the phone. Trying to build those relationships that way while still placing a huge emphasis on that educational program. So currently, I would say the educational program takes up about probably half of my time, if not a little bit over that.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we're a volunteer run club. So outreach is critical. And I've said, old Braze, there's no replacement for boots on the ground, like walking in and talking to people about what we do and why we do it and how we do it. Um, I could send all the emails I want. It doesn't have the same impact as me or a member of our staff, like walking in and having a conversation with somebody. As a volunteer organization, finding windows of time for us to do that is probably the biggest thing that has restricted our growth. In addition to our short season where the real impactful moments with our fans and the community happen during that summer. We certainly try to do a lot of outreach sort of behind the desk in the off season, but it's a long off season. It's terribly long. So that kind of challenges us a little bit with getting out, um, and educating about what we do to kids isn't as exciting, obviously to like a group in the community of adults or business leaders or whatever that can inspire some thought. But I think it's tricky sometimes to visualize what exactly we are trying to do. So my question, rambling as I do always, um, you mentioned early on, sort of like just get the brand out there, some sort of guerrilla warfare of let's get our logo everywhere we can. Is that still, are you a little more selective now? And did that, as you pop into a new town or, community, is that something that you do emphasize is just get the logo in as many places as possible? How do you value sort of just the brand awareness?
Yeah, that's a good question. So right now we currently just opened up our Madison, Wisconsin location. And so what we've been doing is we've been doing pretty much the same thing that we were doing with all of our other locations. We are still trying to partner, and our overall goal really is to make that difference. And so we partner with a lot of like park districts, libraries, um youth programs, things like that in the area. So we're looking for, really anything that's going to help us just truly make that difference while simultaneously getting our name out there. So it's more so um, allowing us to make that difference other than truly getting that logo out there, I would say.
So do you have like a, all right, new location, here's the playbook. We're going to call the work district, we're going to call the schools, we're going to call the like, do you have a unofficial template of new location, this is the rollout?
Yes, yes, we do. So it starts with creating those relationships with the schools, with the youth programs, with the sports teams, things like that. And from there, the other aspect of my position, the media, starts to come in. And so that is when we start pushing out our press releases about our openings. We start pushing out information about our doctors, our other marketing team members, they're starting to push out their materials as well. Excuse me. So there is a little, I guess, a flow, you could say, to how we operate in a new area. And it is, pretty uh I guess it is a pretty like ABC type deal.
Have you found in different communities, um, that certain things, like maybe the park district thing as an example, like this one thing we did worked really well here, and then over here we got like no traction with it. And how, have you seen the difference in that?
Yes, yes, definitely. So some areas, specifically with park districts, some areas don't necessarily have like a parks and recreation organization. Instead, they have, like their village or their town center, and they have like a parks or recreation department in that overall uh organization over there. And so it's different getting involved with a village's recreation department than it is getting involved with a parks and recreation department. I wouldn't say one of them is more beneficial than the other. I do think that they're both equally beneficial to get involved with, but it is at a way different level, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I think from again, kind of always bring it back to the struggles we have as a club and other clubs like us that you can have all the soccer passionate people, and it could be any sport, right? But you're trying to build like a minor league type of thing in a community, and I think a lot of people struggle. I know we did struggle to figure out like where do I put my focus? What are the groups? And it sounds like, and maybe I'm just hearing it, but it sounds like you guys do a lot of focus on that youth and like, and I've watched pro sports teams start up in new cities, and they target the youth because they know they'll bring the parents, and there's some logic to that. There's also the logic that the kids don't get to make decisions all the time and they can't drive themselves, and that's a whole nother thing. But um, I think it sounds like you guys do target sort of that, like let's get them young. And I think it's easier to walk into a school and get 300 kids something with your logo than it is to walk into a factory and they're like, "Oh, we just have freebies for all your workers." It doesn't happen as easily, I don't think. Is that a fair approach, kinda go to the youth?
Yeah, so I would say the reason that we tend to look for youth programs is because we do understand that early intervention in oral hygiene is necessary, especially when it comes to orthodontics in general. Many people would prefer to have braces as a kid compared to as an adult, especially because when you're younger, your jaw and your teeth, they're all still kind of forming together, and it's way easier, to do orthodontics in general. And the other reason I would say that we really focus on youth is because youth is our overall future, right? We need to invest in our youth. We really need to help make that difference with them so that when they get older, they still also want to make that difference for the youth at their generation.
Sure. Yeah, leave it nicer than you found it. I say that all the time. That's just whatever you do, leave it nicer than you found it. And what have you guys, and I may have missed it, so I apologize, but when you pop into a new community and you do all your outreach and you go through your steps, have you guys done or do you do like open house kind of thing, like stop in and see us and let's have a chat? And um, what's that been like? What's the feedback from doing those?
Yeah, so we've done a few open houses actually. So we did one, I want to say that maybe this summer or maybe it was last summer. We did one for our Glendale Heights location. It was sort of a like back to school bash where we were able to, donate some school supplies, bring in some people, have them meet the staff, see the clinic, things like that. We also did an overall open house in our Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin location. And so that we also kind of drew in like our dental partners, people from the area just to kind of, meet the staff, see exactly what we have going on, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's another thing that we've done over the years, and we don't do it with regularity, but when we've hosted meet and greets and again, I can't always boots on the ground and go hit up 62 different people, but if the club goes, "Hey, let's throw like a little meet and greet at a restaurant or whatever," we can get 40 of those 60 people probably to show up and ask questions and chat with us, and it's a good way for us to just kinda like be welcoming and
Mhm.
sort of I think, um, but I was curious how, like, I'm looking at it from my lens, and I've always wondered how others value that when they do, like, appreciation and have, like, cookout out in the parking lot and what kind of is the juice worth the squeeze to those type of events with the marketing of it and the planning, and then do people show up and is it just worth it, I was always curious how others see that.
Yeah, no, definitely. In my personal opinion, I do think that it's beneficial no matter what. Just because getting your name out there is, super important. In order to help build that trust in your brand, in whether it's in Orthodontic Experts, in DeKalb County United, we really need to have individuals and those communities, truly believe in us and our mission in order for us to, give back overall. And so personally, I think anything, is beneficial in that lens.
Sure. Yeah. Right. The more you do, more you do. I mean, that's you got to outwork people sometimes. I'll let you get out of here soon, but I'm curious. I've had a lot of discussions with partners and sponsors, and some of them are very, very curious about sort of the KPIs and the how many followers and how many this, that, and the other thing. And others of them very easy, like, hey, listen, we believe in what you're doing. We think you're doing a great thing. Like, here's a check, or hey, can we buy tickets or whatever, right? Where where do you personally value that when you talk to people like me? When they're like, hey, I have this thing. Are you interested in supporting? Where are you sort of on that spectrum of I need to know how many impressions or that, or is it just good people, good mission, let's support it? And what kind of where are you at on that?
Yeah, so overall, it's usually good people, good mission, let's get involved. On the back end, we do look for information, on how many people would be in attendance, things like that. Just because if we're providing materials, if we're providing discounts, if we're giving some excuse me, giveaways, such as our brushing timers or water bottles, we do want to make sure that we have, an accurate number to reflect the overall attendees. So there is some information on the back end, looking into that. But overall, it's usually, good mission, good organization, let's get involved.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's I think obviously that's to me, I like that better. And even, when I evaluate that from my day job or when people come and ask like, hey, we want to sponsor a golf hole or whatever, right? I mean, I try to carry that through where, again, good people doing the right thing, trying to do it. I know how hard it is when you're just trying to do a good thing
Mhm.
and facing resistance every time you reach out to somebody. When somebody's hosting let's say a golf outing and they're trying to raise money for something, they're doing that to create a better environment, world, community, whatever.
Mhm.
And I appreciate now having done the work with DKCU that I appreciate the effort that they're going to almost always as a volunteer. And I want to be supportive of that. And I appreciate when partners like you guys are not so data driven, but just
Mhm.
to authentically be part of the community and do good things. I think it's important that we sort of lower those barriers to not so many impressions and likes and followers, because with your help, those numbers should grow. And I think
Mhm.
that's where a good partnership, with you guys doing things and we're able to help promote, and we're doing things and you're able to help promote or, within your locations and stuff. I think
Mhm.
there's a lot of good that can happen. So, um,
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. I think it's cool to hear people that do this type of stuff for, professionally. We are professionally amateur in all ways. So, yeah, I really appreciate you jumping on. I hope you guys continue to grow. It sounds like you're doing all the right things the right way and being impactful in all these different communities, and your growth is a product of that. So,
Mhm.
congratulations and keep up the good work. And certainly, if there's anything we can do to help locally here, let's think outside the box and collaborate as best we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate
All
that.
right. Well, you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
Let's do it again.